I'm sure you're hyper aware of what happens in Last of Us 2, the video game, to Joel. This isn't a spoiler alert because video games, I think, are a different animal, but we lose Joel. And we lose him. He is killed.
What?
Horribly killed in game 2.
What are you...
Yeah, I know. And it also time jumps also in the future. Do you because it's such a catalyst for what happens, and the show has really semi closely followed that. Do you know if we're going to explore that 5-year gap, or are we going to go right into Last of Us video game part 2 mode? I need to prepare myself if I'm going to lose you very early on in Last of Us Season 2. That's what I'm asking.
I'll always be with you.
Yes.
No one has ever gone. I'm misquoting...
Star Wars?
No, I'm misquoting Tony Morrison, which is terrible. Yeah.
It's fine. There's a version of that everywhere.
No one has ever lost or... anyway. I actually don't know. And here's the thing. I think that if you think about the kind of construct of a show, especially as it begins, and not knowing whether or not it'll do well or great or not, they marry themselves very much to the adaptation of the first game, for example. And I remember back to Narcos, for example, people feeling frustrated that they lose Pablo Escobar as soon as they did, but they already had an outline with the first 2 seasons, and they ended the first season with Pablo Escobar's escape from prison, not knowing that the world would fall madly in love with Wagner Moura, not necessarily with Pablo Escobar, but with Wagner Moura and his performance. Yeah. But then they only had a certain amount of months left of the character's life from where they ended the first season. If they had known, so who knows in terms of if they could guarantee the success of the show, if they would have teased out the first season more, but I think that would be a mistake because ultimately they are in service of an IP that works really well and are finding very unexpected ways to expand on it. And that being said, I think that part 2 has more leeway. I think it seemed to me, as far as the people that I talked to, that it's a different immersive experience. And while there are things that have to happen for the central narrative to occur, it seems like it's a little bit more open. So that means I don't fucking know
you're a really good liar.
How they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Will you be? No, I think I should know.
Would you be bummed?
And they haven't.
Would you be bummed if you died early on in season 2?
Not if it's good.
Okay.
You know?
Do you know how the character dies
in the
video game?
Good television. Move on.
Okay, fine. All right. I'm gonna.
Jeez Louise.
I just wanted you to answer.
Maybe they're gonna do it. Maybe they're not gonna do it.